Hey, what's good, people? This is episode 94. If you only knew the things that happened before we get on the air. Sports Debate Tuesday. It's Rob McLean. The episode starts right now. What's good, Rob?
That's good.
Hey, what's up, people? Got to give the people what they want. Got to give the people what they want. Along with my man, Rob. Keep it. McLean. I am Jason freezing DeBeas. This window's open, but because it's boiling in here. Yeah, we got a hot episode from an even hotter weekend, man. We saw a lot of upstarts. We saw a lot of people who we expect to win become part of the fallen, right? Well, it's been one of those weekends where there were some high expectations, which brings me to topic one. All right. This weekend of upsets seem to be the norm in the NFL. That's what we're doing first. And I say, why not? Everyone cheers for an underdog. Me and you, we love seeing the little guy win, man, every chance we can. So mix that. And the team, who we as fans and commentators and diehards have to re examine the label of underdog, given their consistent success. I mean, after a while, we got to stop calling some of these teams underdogs. All right. So this weekend is dedicated to the team that we consider underdogs, but it's also the team that after winning a bunch of games isn't considered an underdog anymore. Maybe like your G-men. Great weekend for them, huh? You like that? I do. I like that. So Rob, um, as Bill Parcells would say, you are what your record says you are. So, with all that being said, let's have a little fun. The question for topic number one is, which team were you happy to see win this weekend?
Hmm. Of course, I could say my Giants, but they're no longer underdogs as it is.
I know.
So
I'm gonna say them,
yeah,
but go ahead.
but there was a couple upsets I think this week that were great. There's a couple of teams that maybe I thought that wouldn't have won, like the Seahawks really surprised me.
Yeah, I
Um,
was at that
but
game. I was at that
you
game.
know, ooh, that's a
Yeah,
good game to be at.
yeah.
That's a good game.
Gino's got a nice touch right now, boy.
And 37 points is a real win. It's not like a defense took over kind of win.
I
But I
agree.
got to give it to the Panthers. Third string quarterback. I love PJ Walker. I think he's a fantastic, a serviceable quarterback in the NFL, given the chance, given the right team around him. And he kind of showed that. I mean, putting up good numbers, made the team play well, and beat the Bucks. It's a tough team. Even though the Bucks aren't playing the best ball, it's still a tough team. It's still going there beating a high class team. In the situation they're in, they just lost. They just lost Christian McCaffrey. They got all these nice new draft picks, but they don't have any players. Um, yeah, I thought that was a fantastic underdog type of win.
Yeah. Rob, I said this before and I'll say this again. First of all, Rob, respect. Keep it, McLean. McLean. I'll say it like this, and then you've heard me say this on the show. I'm quoting the movie 8 Mile, where like Eminem goes up there at the end and he says everything before the guy says it, so he got nothing to say against him. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, Rob McLean has Eminem'd me. I've been 8 miles. Yep. Oh my goodness, this guy's a gangster. His real name is Clarence. I mean, I love your pick, man. Right? They lost their coach. Coach got fired in the middle of the season. Robbie Anderson early exit. Christian McCaffrey goes to the Niners, and you're just like, Tom, this is your repair and rinse and repair game. Come beat me, Tom. And wow, 21-3. Just, I mean, talk about a team that when you squeeze them instead of folding, some elite athletes use that to focus, and I really like your pick. So, which means I have to come up with another one, but I am prepared. I am going with the team that didn't even have a name last year. Who's as Stephen A. Smith would say, who started quarterback is it sounds like a muffler instead of a quarterback, right? You got Wentz, went straight up Wentz, as Stephen Skip Bayless would say. I'm on an old school first take tip right now to undisputed. Yeah, Wentz turned into Wentz. Heineke is I mean, is it me or does Washington the fans like that guy?
Yeah, I think it's the same thing with PJ Walker, where it's like he's been there for a while.
Yeah,
They like his style. He's just not. He's a backup quarterback, and he's got to be that.
yeah.
And,
But
and they
you
can't
like him.
believe he's anything more. But. I
But
love
and you
him. I
cheer
think he's
and
one
you
of the
cheer
best
for him.
backups. Yeah. Oh, no
Yeah.
doubt.
Yeah, I mean, it was very
But
much like Buffalo and Doug Flutie, right? I mean, that they paid all this guy all this other money, and you got to play him, but really, the fans want to see Flutie, and that's what's going on with Heineke, man. That I mean, some of those deep throws look like there's no place in the world he'd rather be, and if you asked me who was good, who was the guy that was going to be beating people scorched earth on these deep go routes or whatever, I would have told you it was Aaron Rodgers. But Aaron Rodgers, that last night, yesterday, was not the best team, was not even the best player in that game. Never mind the best, never mind the reigning defending most valuable player. And I believe NFC semifinalist and multiple time NFC Championship game finalist and Super Bowl winner. So you got Carolina Panthers. I go a few miles away from there. I go to Washington. I can't call them that team. I'm just going to call them Washington. I'm just going to keep
yeah,
calling them the football team. I'm sorry. It's just,
Washington football team.
thank you. Didn't that have a nice ring to it after a while? And everybody was
I
just
think,
like, yeah, man. So,
yeah, I like that. I like that though. WFT,
I do too, man. Hold on.
it's kind of cool.
I got to close this window. People making noise.
True, I'm gonna match you on this one.
Yep.
Got my fan going still.
Yes. Well, there, you already have a fan, Rob. That fan is me. Cool, man. Wow, that's a great wrap up for topic one because we still got a lot to talk about, and I think we're gonna go heavy on some of the subject matter. Rob, topic number two, we go to MMA. More specifically, we go to the UFC. Yo, you train UFC, bro? You train UFC, bro? Anyway, what a weekend. What a weekend, dude. I always have both excitement and at the same time reservations when I see a stacked card. Because for me, very much like a hit motion picture, like a hit film, with an that has like an all star cast that has all these A listers, you rarely see it exceed your expectations. I mean, they usually fall short, and on its best legs, it meets its expectations. But there are some outliers that are like, wow, this is everything I thought it was going to be and more. I mean, I'm Avengers biased, and you don't even know there's an A-list cast because they on an ensemble level have made those Avengers movies really good. So, uh, but UFC 268 was everything I expected, and I think I speak for both of us on that. Was it everything you expected too? Was it a ball? Was it a
Two
baller?
eighty.
Yeah, was it a baller card that this last weekend that kind of delivered?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
definitely was.
yeah,
That was definitely one of my favorite, fight to fight to fight to fight, just
yeah.
entertaining fights.
I mean, even the most pessimistic mind had to concede that it at least met our expectations. So I could be a W downer. So this week the question is twofold. All right, we got two questions for this MMA topic. Which match met or exceeded our expectations? That's the first question. And the second question is which one fell short? I'm gonna go first on this one because I might steal one from you, but there was a match you said that you can't wait to see, and yeah, it's gonna be high like it's gonna be electric. It's gonna be lightning in a bottle, and that's Dariush against Gamrot. They call him Gamrot. I thought it was Gamro. I was all French, Who wants this? Gamro, Pierre, Pierre. So you said I can't wait to see that match last week, and I said, wait a second, this could be the dance partner Dariush was looking for, so to get more fans in this and that, and man, did they deliver. That's the match that exceeded my expectations. They had great stand up. They had great when they were against the cage. You knew they weren't resting. When it went to the ground, they weren't laying and praying. Everything was slick. Yeah, all the moves were slick. It really made a mixed martial arts fan concentrate on mixed martial arts, and I'm kind of a purist like that. So make mine Dariush and Gamrot, and I think I stole yours. So who? So the question is, Rob, who else
Oh
you got?
no. For me, I thought that the Peter Yan and Sean O'Malley was better than expected.
Yeah,
I thought half people thought Sean O'Malley was going to outclass him. Half the people thought Peter Yan was going to wrestle him to the ground and just ground and pound him the whole time. Um, and I think neither side got their wish, and both sides got their wish, where both things kind of happened for a while. But yeah, just like a really high level MMA fight. Maybe we didn't expect that high level where, we thought, honestly, I thought Peter Yan was just going to take him down, and ground and pound him. And I thought that Sean O'Malley did a great job of preventing that from happening. And that made it into a more interesting fight, and standing up, I thought Sean was, yeah, really good. So that was a really awesome fight to see. I was glad that it turned out to be better than I expected.
Yeah. Yeah, right?
And yeah, so that has to be for my pick.
Yeah, I mean, first two things before we jump to our next question, because this this match has answered a lot of questions and at the same time left us with some questions, didn't it? So for me, when we found out that he was facing Peter Yan, I'm sure some people were calling Dana White, and it was like, "Yo, what did this guy ever do to you, man?
Yeah,
That you
like
gonna give him
damn,
Peter?" You
bro. That's
know?
what I said. That's what I said.
But man, I mean, and even his body language, like the weigh-ins and the face-offs, you know that, right? That guy's like energetic, extroverted in your face, kind of has this mean mug. There was none of that this weekend. I'm like, and the way he was carrying himself, I'm like, this dude doesn't think he's gonna win. This dude is probably
Mm.
thinking this is BS. This is bull jive and I'm going to lose. And I'll do the best I can. And that's not what happened. Which leads me to my next question, Rob. Or not the topic question, but did he really win that fight?
Mm.
Split decision? Or was it a split decision?
Yeah,
Or
it was
did,
a split
yeah,
decision
okay.
victory. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, again, it was as close as you can get without it being a tie.
right.
So I think that's respect to both fighters. I don't think there was a certain round where anybody dominated somebody else in the scorecard where it was, like an oblivious, mistake. I think it was just, how some fighters deal with it. I also don't think that it's fair that both of those fighters are capable of a 5 round fight. And I think it's hard to blemish a record or, hurt their career trajectory because they don't have enough rounds to prove to do it. So I think there should be more implications for there should be maybe like more incentive to have 5 round fights.
Mm.
And if there's a 5 round fight, maybe that it holds more weight into whether you get a title shot sooner than later because that is really the two biggest things the change from a regular fight to a title fight is not only the time when you're fighting how big it is the media and all that stuff but that you're going from 3 to a 5 round fight. The only time you really get a 5 round fight is either in a title fight or sometimes in a main event. So to maybe open that avenue up a bit more so that there's more you see who's capable of lasting 5 rounds or who would do something in 5 rounds because honestly I looked at that fight and I was like they both could have gone 2 more rounds easily and it would have
Yeah.
been such an exciting fight and it
Hmm.
would have been you know I'm even to the point where it's like they should have just asked them right there when the split decision came out like yo you guys want to go 2 more rounds and
And
let's just figure this out.
I think both of
You know
them,
what I mean?
both of them would have said, "Hell yeah,
Yeah, you know what I mean.
yeah,
So it's like yeah, it's tough. So I just think it's difficult to, almost be stopped midway through the fight
yeah."
to define a decision. So hard for
Honest,
Peter Young, but I think it
yeah,
is what it is.
two Energizer bunnies, man. In fact, the only time I even saw Peter Yan like the energy leave his body was when the decision was read. Right? I mean, think about the rematch against Aljamain Sterling. I thought Aljo won, but if that tight decision, if you felt you won, you lost. You're like, geez, and then now it's happened to you twice, right? You've lost three
Yeah.
in a row. One from an accident, right? You lose your belt from that, and the second one you lose in a decision you thought you won, and in this third one, I actually thought Yan won it, but. Um, Saturday I was thinking, oh, screw job. This is this is bad. And now, I watched the match a second time. I still think Jan won, but I don't think anyone got screwed. I thought it was
Right.
close enough. I thought it was close enough to go the right way or the wrong way. So, Rob, the second topic question is which match um, did not meet your expectations, which and might even be a disappointing. Not a whole lot of disappointing matches. Even the decisions on the prelims were fun. It was great, but I'll go first on this one. The match that didn't meet my expectations had to be one of the title fights. It was T.J. Dillashaw trying to take the belt from Aljamain Sterling. Right. This is a match where We thought we were going to see, high impact wrestling. We thought we were going to see slick submissions. We thought we were going to see slick boxing because, TJ Dillashaw, I think he does what Dominic Cruz better than Dominic Cruz does. I mean, he looks like, right? He looks like Dominic Cruz on steroids. I mean, he's like, could very well be, Jay. But
Could very
when his
well be.
shoulder popped out, first of all, when I got to give the guy credit, his shoulder popped out and when he fell to the ground, he looked like he was going to tap. And he was like, no, I think I could do this. And then between the rounds, he pops it back in and it pops back out. The guy's an absolute stud and was winning the fight with one hand. You know what I'm saying? Just like jabbing and crossing or whatever. But as soon as it went to the ground, Funk Master already seems like he has 8 tentacles. Never mind, right? Never mind like two strong hands or arms. So it disappointed me because one, it got cut short because of the injury. So I was disappointed. It didn't meet my expectations. I thought that was going to go longer. And two, Aljo has to recognize when to ground and pound and when to go for submissions. Like when it went to the ground, you could almost hear Matt Serra get into BJJ mode. Where like in the beginning, he was just, it was fist to pavement and head. And I was like, dude, do that 20 times, because he didn't even load up to do it. He was just hitting him in the right spot. You do that 20 times. And the referee will get you off, like what Country Nelson did in The Ultimate Fighter with Kimbo. Like everyone in the crowd, like all the other coaches were counting 1, 2, 3, 4, like little peppers. So didn't meet my expectations. Correct. Huge disappointment. No. I mean, Dillashaw showed me more fighting injured than he could ever show me fighting healthy.
True. Yeah, I think for me,
is it the same?
I mean,
echo
yeah,
that? Yeah.
it's obviously the same, but I think my other pick, if I had to choose, would be the Oliveira Islam fight. And meaning that it didn't meet up to the expectations.
Right.
I thought that, Charles came out like pretty flat. But again, this is, I think, Charles's problem with his game is that he almost needs to get hit and get put into situations for him to like flourish almost. If you can, like, if you think back to the last 3 fights he's been put in really difficult situations and almost had not a lucky shot, but he's countered to win. It's not like he's imposing his offensive will or so crafty defensively that he puts himself in position. So I think a guy like Islam had a game plan and he went after his game plan, and Charles had the skills, but he doesn't really have a game plan to go after Islam. So it was just kind of disappointing in the fact that I thought Charles might be a little bit more, not prepared, but have an attack or a secondary plan, an adjustment, and I didn't see that. So that's kind of disappointing.
And it was because it went the same way a lot of Makachev's matches go that you did not think would happen to Oliveira. Like I was like, okay, he did it to that guy, but that guy's not Charles. He did it to that guy, but that guy's not Charles. And in the beginning of the match, when he took him down, Charles almost welcomed the takedown until he felt the weight of a Dagestani Sambo fighter on him, where you had enough. All right, I'm done with this clown. Time to get up, and it's like, oh wait, I can't. This dude wrestles bears, And he was Khabib Nurmagomedov's favorite student. His father actually said that guy was his favorite student, not the son. So Khabib admitted that. So congratulations to Islam Makhachev. Should the Bronx get a rematch?
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean,
so.
Right away, I don't know, but
I don't think he got beat down that much. I think.
No. And that's why it's like, I love to see what happens if Islam goes, deeper than 3 rounds.
Yeah, you were 5-1, by the way, on the pick 6. We both picked Yan. We were both wrong on Yan. You picked Bilal Muhammad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I picked Brady. So I'm 4-2. I picked Brady and I picked Yan, but we were both right with Dariush. We were both right with Caitlin. We knew Caitlin's a constant pressure fighter, and we didn't have.
Wait, no, Caitlin lost.
Oh, she did?
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm batting 500 ball than you 4-2, man. Look at me, all unprepared for this. Dude, how about Bilal Muhammad and Sean, though, right? Two pressure fighters. Wanted to see who's going to break under the pressure. Yeah.
Sean ain't ready yet, and I'm
No.
not saying that. I'm not saying that in the nicest way possible, but I need to see more on
Right.
the on like again taking over. You got to be you got to have a niche. You got to have
Yeah.
a niche for something. You got to and
Well, he did, and he
I
got
just
beat at it. He got beat at his own game. He got beat
that's
at
what I
pressing
mean. That's what I
forward.
mean.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. You
Yeah.
can't, but again, this goes down to maybe a little bit coaching, maybe a little bit of stubbornness from fighter, whatever it comes down to. But you've got to recognize, like, he and I are going to do the same thing, unless I'm that much better at him. Even if I think I'm a little bit better,
Uh huh.
you gotta have a different game plan.
Yeah.
What is it that I don't like to do? What if somebody does something to me and I don't like it? Like, let me try to do that to that person because it's the same thing. So
Right.
it's just I don't know, a lazy approach.
It is. But anyway, what a great card. I might watch it again tonight while I edit this episode because I mean, especially the Yan and O'Malley fighter, which I already watched twice. But I watched all of the prelims. Did that actually again this morning, and my kind of card, man. And I know there's a bunch of cards in between, but and I used to be a UFC head, but I'm more of an MMA purist. But I don't care until November 12th. I should care, I mean, you got my boy Calvin Kattar fighting Allen this weekend, and we could do a pick on that on Quick Question. But for now, let's move to the NFL pick six. Rob, last week I believe you were 3-3. James Barker, who challenged us. James Barker, my man, he's a coach out of Lubbock, Texas, club coach and former Black Hawk crew chief. Have you ever seen that movie Black Hawk Down? James Barker challenged us. He's also 3-3. Your boy Jason DeBias here was 4-2. So let's go. Hey, with my team, the Buffalo Bills having a bye last week, I still found a way to say go New York, go New York, go. And those were the Jets, the New York Jets. How's that for a feel good story, huh? Like that coach said, I'm taking
Mm.
receipts. That
He
coach said, didn't
is,
he say that? He said, I'm taking
but
receipts.
it's a long season though, and they just lost Brees Hall for the year.
Yeah. After he ran for like a sick touchdown. Oh,
Sick
Metcalf.
touchdown,
Yeah.
receiving. Yeah, that guy's nice.
All right, so let's go to our pick six. We're going to game number one. I leave you the Ravens this Thursday. The Baltimore Ravens on the road to face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bobby McGee, who you got?
Yeah, it's good that we try to pick games that aren't the easiest, but um, I mean, man, the Bucks, that was rough last week, but the Ravens, man, I'm glad the Giants beat them because I don't want to see them again. But that team is tough,
Yeah,
man.
they are. And my Buffalo Bills, I'm glad we already played them too, man, because right now they're going to run over everybody.
But man, I'm gonna go with the Bucks. I'm gonna go with the Bucks. I know. You think about the run defense that the Bucks do have. Like Devin White is gonna take down Lamar Jackson, forcing them to pass. And I think Brady comes back with a big week this week. I think you know they missed a couple easy throws last week. I was so surprised they didn't score or
Yeah.
put any points after that. So I think something's just off. So I'm gonna go with the Bucks this week.
All right, cool. For me, I mean, it being a home game at Tampa Bay, I think as far as bounce back games go, if it was going to happen, it was going to happen against Carolina, but it didn't.
It's true.
But then again, I've always severely underestimated the Ravens' ability to play well on the road like they do at home. They have a ridiculous win-loss record at home under John Harbaugh, but their defense has really a lot of trouble against mobile quarterbacks and guys who use their legs and create more time. And I think we're going to see more of that. I'm picking the Ravens. Let's go to match number two, our football game two. We have the Cards, Arizona Cardinals, visiting the Minnesota Vikings. I'll go first on this one. The Minnesota Vikings off their bye week. They're the host. It's nice and chilly, great conditions. Kirk Cousins is playing more like a close relative instead of a kissing cousin, and I picked the Vikings on this one.
Hmm. You know, I'm so surprised at what's going on with the Cardinals this year, but now that they starting to have some pieces back, it
Yeah,
looks a lot
Hopkins.
more.
Yeah, Hopkins is back.
Yeah, it looks. It looks like they got Robbie Anderson. Maybe he'll start getting in the mix. I think they just need a receivers, at the end of the day. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna go with the Cardinals on this one, man. I think they feel it feels like the right team
Oh my
in this
goodness, are we
matchup.
we going opposite ends on the first two? We just got started. Robbie, game three. Let's go Patriots. The New England Patriots, who
Mm,
are actually playing right now. We're gonna get a score in a minute because Rob is my up to date guy right now. I'm sitting here
right.
trying to edit some stuff. So Rob, we got Patriots
2014,
Patriots
2014.
against the New York
JETS.
Jets. Oh, Rob, you go first. Is it the
Oh
Patriots or
man.
the New York Jets?
You know, the Jets are playing great football, man, and their defensive line is fantastic. I mean, their back half is great too. They got okay linebackers, but yeah, man, I think the defense in itself is going to shut down the Pats. I'm gonna have to go with the Jets on this one.
Shishing! Rob, keep it McLean. How dare you? I'm coming for you. I'm a New Yorker. Look, and as far as wishful, who I want to win this game, as native New Yorkers, I mean, we are. I guess we're born to despise people from the New England sports area. Even though I do have to concede, it's a hell of a sports town, man. There's people are loyal. I give credit when credit's due. I gotta go Patriots on this one. Right now, it seems like we have a little bit of quarterback controversy right as we speak. We're pre-recording this Monday night, so Monday Night Football's happening right now, and I think Zappy came in for Mac Jones. He's just playing a little bit better, and I think Bill Belichick is only loyal to people who can help him win. So I expect Zappy to be there next week, and I expect him to zap the Jets. Jets, Jets. I really, really hope y'all keep doing what you're doing though, because I mean, that team gets kicked around, and that's a hell of a first job for a head coach to have. And he's like, I'm taking receipts. This dude said I'm taking receipts, Rob. How cool is that? I thought
It's
it,
pretty good.
yeah, boy got cojones. So we go to game four, and we wait a second. We're 3 games in, and we've picked opposite teams.
The whole way through.
All right, game four, we have the Giants, your G-Men, visiting the Seattle Seahawks. This is at the 12th man. Look, I'm
Ooh,
going to go first on this one. The 12th man was created in part by to the best of my memory, or the thing that sticks in my memory, was the Giants got called for 13 false start penalties against Seattle a few years ago, a decade and a half ago. And the fans started to notice that and just got louder and louder and louder. And I think the 12th man, subsequently, or unwittingly or not, was created that day. The 12th man's going to be strong against the Giants, but Daniel Jones right now, he's. I didn't think I would say that this guy's a pressure cooker, and doesn't get cooked under the pressure. And I gotta go G-Men on this to face Geno Smith. Before you give your answer, man. Nah, actually we'll do that at the end. Geno Smith's balling out, but you go. But I'm going Giants.
yeah, the thing, there are certain things. This is the team that I watch, so I notice a little bit more than other teams. But the thing that I've realized this year about the Giants is they're finding ways to win. You know, um, I mean, geez, they had a 6 point lead,
Mm-hmm.
and the ball went down to the 1 yard line at the very end of the game last game, right?
Dude,
Like they
wow.
had 40 seconds to get it down to the 1 yard to score, and they got it down to the 1 yard line,
Trevor
right?
Lawrence.
But they still found a way to win, right? That's the whole point of it is that. So for me, I'm gonna keep going with the Giants until they disappoint. I think the Seahawks are a tough team right now, especially at home. Geno's playing great.
Yeah, he
They
really
have
is, dude.
everybody's rallying around that team. But
A lot of injuries that game. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of injuries, and the Giants have some injuries as well.
Yeah.
Trying to get healthy this week, but yeah, I have a feeling that the Giants have that formula right now that'll just push teams. I don't not necessarily say it's going to guarantee
Yeah.
wins, but it'll just push teams when it really seems like it at the end of games
Mm-hmm.
to make mistakes for us to capitalize. So I'm going to go with the Giants.
You know, Rob, I picked the Giants for logical reasons, but my eye test, I was at that game yesterday. I was at that game Sunday. I'm changing my pick. I'm going Seahawks. I can't. That was the touch that Geno Smith has, like the on his throws, and the speed. This is some high level stuff, and I felt like he was back in West Virginia playing Texas Tech and winning a game like 70-63. And that was one of his games. That was the first time I saw Geno Smith play. You know what I'm saying? My girl was out there with me. The parents were out there from West Virginia, though they went to a smarter school. But yeah, I think I'm going to change my pick. And I got to remember to go back on this. Okay. So right now, four
Well,
picks. I'm going Seahawks. You're going G-Men. Mm-hmm.
let me tell you this too.
Uh-huh.
The Giants at pick, what was it, 7? Or
Uh-huh.
yeah, it was at pick 7 in the
Yeah.
draft. They had the choice of choosing Evan Neal or Charles Cross, who's now offensive lineman on
Yeah.
the Seahawks. So it'd just be interesting to see because Evan Neal also got injured last week in the
Yeah.
second quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see, how that kind of comes to fruition because,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Seahawks aren't having a great season, but
Yeah.
they're coming around and it'll just be cool to see. You know,
Doesn't Debo actually fit the physical stereotype of football coach? I mean, when they ask, I mean, if I run in that guy at Starbucks and I'm like, what do you do for a living? He's like, I'm a football coach. And I'm like, I'd be like, but of
yep,
course you are.
yep.
Of course you are. Last game, we got the Green Bay Packers going against, hey, 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 ha, hey, 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 let's go, Buffalo. Let's go, Buffalo. All right, let me put away all this gear because if there's anything I can't stand, it's someone that just brings all the gear and can't be objective and acts like a total fanboy on the podcast, right? So let me put away the cup. Let me put away the hat for the moment, and let's make some picks. Green Bay, big trouble, and it might get worse. Who you got?
Oh man, I mean, it's an easy Bills pick. I can keep it short, but man, I, what do you think the point differential is going to be? Do you
That's
think
the
it's
real
going to be
question. Yeah,
right? Do you think it's going to be a plus 17 or below 17?
yeah, yeah. So you're picking Bills.
Yeah.
Yeah, I. This is not as far as styles making matchups are concerned. Like LaFleur is a good coach, and even when he didn't have good clientele, he's always had bend but don't break. But do you have any idea what the hell the Bills do to bend but don't break defenses? They break them. Josh Allen is the guy where like Mahomes is like, there's a few seconds left. I'm going for this field goal. Josh is like, there's a few seconds left. Dude, how about a touchdown?
That's
How
cool.
about a touchdown instead? Um, the Bills have significantly improved against mobile quarterbacks. And Aaron Rodgers, I know he likes to be in the pocket, but I know he likes to move his legs. But the Bills had a ton of practice against Lamar Jackson with a strong arm. Tons of practice against Patrick Mahomes, who right now is 3 times the quarterback Aaron Rodgers is. I'm sorry. No disrespect to Aaron Rodgers, but Mahomes, that's another team I'm glad we play early. And I'm going Bills. And I think whatever the line is, I think the Bills can cover that by themselves. I'm just mad because we know what's gonna happen Monday morning. It's gonna be LaFleur's fault. It's gonna be someone else's fault. But
Well,
actually,
Aaron did take accountability. He said he does
yeah.
need to play a tick better.
Ooh, yeah, dude. I think we ain't measuring this Sunday in ticks, man. I mean, what's a tick times a million? What would be like a bigger version of a tick? What would you call that? I'm bracing. I'm holding on to my desk. See if Rob got an answer to that.
It's called playing better.
Yes.
That's what it's called.
Look, ain't
My
no
God.
shame in our game, all right? But you know what? There is some shame in to shame or not to shame, okay? In this one, I think we're just going all shame on this one. But with no further ado, people, the next episode, to shame or not to shame.
Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame.
All right, Rob, let's cue up our clock. Let's cue up our split screen, Rob. So, to shame or not to shame is, I think I'm leaning more towards the negative inference on this topic 4. So, with 60 seconds, Rob, who had our worst weekend between the 4 of these franchises? The Yankees, the Lakers, the Packers, or the Tampa Bay Bucks? Okay, so it's not, there is no shame on this one. The question is, who's the most ashamed this weekend? The floor is yours, Bobby. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna have to be the New York Yankees, and the worst part of it is it's sounding like Aaron Judge doesn't even want to come back. He's sounding like he's giving his farewells and goodbyes.
Oh man, yeah,
So, um, at the end of the day, the reason why it's embarrassing because this is what it really is. If you look at what's happened in the second half of the season, the New York Yankees have been embarrassing, and they kind of just they blew the load early, and the end of it is the coaching. Aaron Boone should never have been the coach of the New York Yankees. He's been mediocre at best since he's been in there.
it's a weird
Um, this
choice.
has been
Yeah,
this has been two coaches in a row. They should have never gotten rid of Girardi, and I even think Girardi was probably not the best choice at the time. I'm going back like two or three managers at this point, but yeah, the issue for the Giants and for the Yankees for the longest time has been managerial
yeah,
decisions at the end of games, especially in the postseason,
mm,
that have just not made our team play up to its ability. So
yeah. You're
it
going
used to be
Yankees.
that we didn't want to spend the money, and
Yeah,
now it's that we don't want to, hire the right people. We want to hire the friends. You know,
yeah.
it's sad. Aaron Boone, he hit a home run in 2005 or whenever. Like fucking fantastic. Like get over it. Like it doesn't mean he's a great baseball coach.
No. Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
I'm with you on that one, and I'll start up my clock because I talk 100 miles an hour anyway to finish with your sentiments on what you say. I have a different, most shameful, but I will caveat by saying that yeah, hiring players to be coaches is always the best idea. And though I thought Girardi was a mistake, I think they got rid of him when the guy finally understood what managing was and hitting his stride. So that was a reason not to get rid of him. But a whole bunch of shame to
Exactly.
share, a whole bunch of big shame pie and four slices to eat in this category, but the one that has to eat the biggest piece, I think, are the Los Angeles Lakers. The Yankees had a bad second half of the season, but no one really expected them to beat the Astros, so I don't have a shame on that. The way getting swept was sad, and I was glad they got swept because this way I don't actually have to watch the Astros play anymore. I'm not watching them play anymore. They're playing the Phillies, and we'll do that. I mean, there's not a team, a franchise team I despise more than them right now, even more so than the Boston Red Sox. So I'm going LA Lakers because you have all the pieces that LeBron asked for. He had the coach he asked for. Rob Pelinka gets a lot of criticism about assigning clientele, but he gave everything LeBron asked for, and now he's gonna have to want to bear the brunt when everything goes wrong because very much like Aaron Rodgers and very much like some of these guys who we worship, we I mean, I'm sort of a journalist, but we as spectators, fans, diehards always tend to shift the blame on someone else when our guy's not playing well. LeBron put up 31 points last night, but they're 0-3 right now, and that is inexcusable. That is inexcusable for that team, for that franchise in a town, right? What's every sport we could go? What's the premier team for each sport, right? Like the Dallas Cowboys, the most popular team for football, as much as I'm loath to say. They might even go to the Super Bowl this year or the AFC NFC Championship game. For baseball, it's the Yankees, no question. That's probably the most celebrated franchise in all of sports. And for basketball, it's the Lakers. And when they're not playing well, it's highlighted 10 times. It's like a magnifying glass, and that's what I'm seeing right now. You know, yeah, shameful skip for the
Totally true.
Bucks. Losing to a team that didn't have that lost their wideout. They went against a team that didn't have their best wideout, didn't have their top running back, didn't even have a head coach. So,
Right.
man, you beat me to that one. I'm so proud of you, and at the same time disappointed in you, Robert Kennedy McLean. All right, so we go to our next section. The next section, topic number 5, is called. Where do we go? We got. Actually, let's do this. Let's pause. And that. Quick question. All right, Rob. Quick question. Who do you like? Do you like TJ Dillashaw versus Jan next?
If TJ's healthy, yes. If not, absolutely not.
That'd be a great match. I mean, Jan is like John Lineker with experience and and a more complete fighter. And I'd like to see TJ against him. That'd be a great match. A fun match. Who would you like to see O'Malley fight next, regardless of title aspirations? I'll go first on this one. I still like
Um,
Aljo.
yeah, I think that's going to be a fun one. Um, yeah, I'll take Aljo just because he's champ. Anybody's a champion right now. I'd love to see him fight so he can get his belt and make a choice.
Right. Charles Oliveira. If he doesn't get a rematch, who should he fight? I like I
Um,
like the winner of Chandler and Poirier in November. I think the timing's right. They're a month apart, training camp, stuff like that.
yeah, yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, the winner of them, either one of them is pretty decent.
Yeah, and they'll probably get a title shot anyway, right? So might as well be in the
Mm-hmm.
mix. Um,
Yeah, exactly, Chandler.
Now, TJ Dillashaw had the shoulder injury before the fight. Should he have pulled out of the fight, or was it the right thing to sweat it out and fight?
Yeah, I mean, probably should have pulled out just because there are backups.
Mm,
It's not like they're going to cancel the fight, but
mm,
yeah, it's tough. I think they should have because man, it was a trash fight. I mean,
yeah,
yeah,
it was. I mean, I always get mad when people pull out of fights, but now I have to re-examine because look what happens when a guy doesn't pull out a fight and decides to tough it out. That's what happened,
well,
and I'm
my
with. Go ahead, please.
my issue is when people are talking trash.
Yeah,
People are trying to, again, I don't care if you talk trash, but you're creating the the idea that you're healthy, you're going to compete, you're going to do that. You're basically selling the fight, and then you're
yeah,
on the other end, I'm going to injury when you already knew you were injured. That's my issue.
yes,
Or they were injured for weeks, they tried to fight it out, they couldn't make it, and then the last couple of fights, because I think it's contractual where if you get out of a fight earlier in the contract, you don't get any money, but if you go up to the fight and you just get hurt, you still get paid or blah blah blah. I'm sure there's contractual things that make
right,
you wait and whatever, but that's just for me. Like, if you're injured and you can't go, but I mean that's like a physical fight and it's one on one. It's not
right,
you're taking out one of your things. It's like, it should Pacquiao have fought
right. Yeah,
Mayweather with his shoulder, because yeah, he lost, but now he's saying he couldn't have hit him. So it's
mm,
like,
yeah,
it's just, you're gonna take everything you can get, and you're probably not. And most of the times, you're not gonna win that
right.
disadvantage. So
And this was a
I
complete
just,
disadvantage,
it's not
Rob.
smart.
Right? This is a complete
It
disadvantage. Like,
is.
look, no fighter goes into a fight 100%. But with that being said, with something like this, the guy was trying to fight with one arm. I mean, and on the stand up, it looked like it was a wash. So, I mean, and now we have all this doubt like, oh, if his arm was better, he probably would have done better. So, I mean,
You would have dominated him.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there's that too, right? So, okay. So, next question, quick question. Who wins the World Series? Phillies? Astros?
This is a one or this is a one question for me. So,
Oh, okay. You're going
who do
Phillies?
I think? Yeah, I mean, I have to say the Phillies have had that kind of magic this year. Them and the Cardinals. That's crazy that they beat the Cardinals, but it kind of
Yeah.
shows.
Hmm.
I think they just have that magic. So again, I would have to say I would really love for the Phillies to win. They have everything you should need, but I still think they're a year away, which is
Yeah.
crazy to say. Um, but yeah, man, I really think that unfortunately Houston's gonna win this, and they're just too strong, dude. I literally called that they were gonna sweep the Yankees before it happened,
Yeah.
like to myself. Like, I was just like, these guys, they won the last game last second. They won the second game last second. Like, they came back and beat us. Like, they won. It's just the two games in the last series, they came back in the last part of the game to have game tying or game winning home runs. That's the recipe for success in baseball. It's like
Yeah.
when your team antes up when it really matters, whether it's runners in scoring position
Hmm.
or it's at the end of the game, got to score 5 runs in the seventh, some stuff like that. Like, that's, you just can't account for that. Like, you can put your right pitchers out, you can have the right bullpen out, but when a team gets rolling, like, you really can't. And that's what I mean about the Yankees. Like,
Yeah.
they were rolling in the early year, but right now they can't
Yeah.
hit a ball. Aaron Judge is 1 for 16, throughout
Yeah.
the series. It's like, that's ridiculous. That's you're not putting people in the right positions. I'm
I think it
sorry.
was like John 3:16. And John 3:16 wasn't a biblical verse. I think that was his I think that's what his batting average was. Yeah, on that batting average, that's what he was. That was his
That's his
percentages.
OPS.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his
So
OPS. Three.
yeah, but I think
Crazy.
it's because the Yankees fell in love. You can't fall in love with the long ball in the playoffs. You and I watch enough baseball to know the secret of the Yankees' success in the 90s and all the way up to 2000 was finding a way to get on base. They would walk, they'd reach on an error, they'd steal second, they'd bunt to third, sacrifice, fly home. I've seen them in playoff games where they were scoring runs and not even getting a base hit. And then, but now you want to go, you want to fall in love with the long ball against guys who have 100-mile-an-hour sinkers, and
Right.
but isn't that what we saw about the Astros? The Astros, look, they found a way to get on base. The Astros this year looked like the Yankees from the 90s. They were just fine. As soon as they got on base, you felt the air leave your body because you were pretty sure that every time they got on base, you were pretty sure they were going to score. That is a sucky feeling, dude.
I
Yeah,
mean, it's crazy, and you
yeah,
think back to again. This is just Yankee talk now, but it's crazy. You think back to those great teams. Like none of those guys were like all MVP, All Star, best. I mean, think about it. Like you had Scott Brocious, Paul O'Neill. I mean, Tino was considered like an MVP type caliber player, but when he came to the Yankees, he wasn't really that great. You got Bernie Williams. I mean, Derek Jeter came in there. He was that guy. Posada. I mean, he really wasn't that great.
no,
So at the end of the day, it was like they had the component. Like every single person on that team was made to win, and everything that they were great at was made to
yeah,
was put in the right. And it was just great GMing, great managerial, success. It was great to see. And
yeah,
now I think I just love it so much because it's so necessary in baseball to have all those things working correctly because there's so many things happening at once and the ball goes so quick and yada yada. So it's cool to see, that unfortunately, like we're saying, it's we're seeing that in Houston or in Philly, but it's good to see that there's great baseball still being played.
yeah. And I'm going Astros on this. I drink and spit, but
No
I think
doubt.
the Astros are going to win this. Quick question, because that one that one was not so quick, but at the same
Not so
time
quick.
super necessary because we don't even talk about baseball that much on the podcast, and I'm glad we did.
That's true.
Who wins the NBA crown? Early preliminary pick. I go Warriors.
Yeah.
I go Warriors
I,
Nets. I think the Nets figure out some things.
I'll go Bucks. I think this is their year to come back and do something big.
Wow.
But honestly, I'm gonna go Bucks and Heat. Bucks and Heat. Bucks and Heat.
Yeah.
Bucks and Heat.
Indianapolis Colts benched Ryan. Sam Islanders is in. Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Yeah, thumbs up. Once
Mm,
Jonathan Taylor went down, that their season was over.
yeah. And he actually played this weekend, so I was very, very happy. He played this weekend, got me 15 fantasy points. But yeah, if you're gonna have a quarterback, if you're gonna have a young talent, at some point you have to see if he's worth paying, if he's worth keeping around. And I thought it was a very bold move, but at the same time, most people find out when their season's over, right? Oh, let's put him in. But when you put him in when the season's over, you don't see a good sample size of him either because he's not playing. He's playing for his job, but he's not playing. With house he's playing with house money. There's no pressure situation because there's nothing to play for.
Right.
So I'm glad they're doing that early. And and you get a score before we go. That's the end of the quick question. But before we go, as I give a tribute to one or two people, you pick at that score for me, that football score. Tell me who's winning.
26-14 Chicago.
26-14 Chicago. All right. And
It
we're in the
seems like
third quarter.
they've stumped Zappy so far.
Yep. So before we go, Benil Dariush, they asked Benil Dariush what was next for him after he won his match against Gamrot. Um, he says, I'm not a beggar. I like the way he said that because in this UFC, the squeaky wheel gets the most grease. If you win, and your loud out's call enough, and if it's interesting to the fans, you usually get it. But Benil Dariush, he got the call out without calling people out. I think everyone liked that. I'm not a beggar. But, I won, and this is where I think I deserve to be. Blah blah blah. And I thought that was it. He actually, to avoid calling out someone, what he's done was call someone, ends up calling out someone. So I thought it was a brilliant move. So big up to him. Lastly, big up to Volley for Sound. We live in the Hermosa Beach area, so they had a big force tournament, and all the proceeds go to contributing and studying to an improvement on the hearing impaired. Kelsey Brandon, who's actually deaf, ran the whole thing, and it was a fantastic tournament for fours. Nice bid auctions for some of the big beach volleyball players. You played in it too. Did you play fours this weekend too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fun tournament.
Yeah, it was
North
fun.
of the Pier, festive music, everything they said it was. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So big up to Kelsey Brandon. She was actually on the podcast, and she lip read the entire podcast. She didn't use like a hearing impaired sound. She lip read the entire podcast, and I think that woman's a gangster. I didn't even know she was deaf. I thought she was just trying to talk like, I thought she was trying to talk like she was from the hood, and I'm like, okay, she's talking like she from the hood, and it's like, no, she's deaf. Okay, that's and wow, all right, she sounds pretty good. I mean, for the stereotype, because like I'm not trying to tease deaf people, but there's like a stereotype on like how deaf people sound. So, big up to her. So, Rob, as we approach the end of this podcast, Sports Debate Tuesday, episode 94, is there anything you'd like to say to the general population, Rob?
Just stay happy, stay healthy, y'all.
Stay happy, stay healthy, says Rob McLean. So Rob might love you guys, but me, I think I like you guys too, man. In fact, I think I love you guys, all right? So for all of you at home, for all of you on your iPad or your iPhone, for all of you on your desktop, who runs the world, old school. For my man, Rob, keep it, McLean, put some respect on that man's name. I'm Jason DeBeas. This is episode 94. I'm going to hit my music and we're out. Come check out the Option Podcast on OptionVB.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.